So just a few words about Professor Jingxia, who we actually had a chance to see in person this summer, and we are very happy to have again during our talks. So Professor and Dr. Jingxia Shi is a professor of international law at Renmin University of China in Beijing. Her key fields of research encompass international trade and investment law, international and comparative bankruptcy, and reorganization law. She has published on the intersection between the Belt and Road Initiative, our today's subject, and international law from perspective of international governance and the rule of law. Prior to joining the Renmin University in 2021, she taught at School of Law at China University of International Business and Economics, where she acted as a dean and professor of international business and economic law. Professor Jingxia Shi holds the LLM degree and JSD degree from Yale Law School and a PhD degree from Wuhan University. She's a member of New York Bar and Chinese Bar Association, and also acts as counsel both for Chinese government agencies and large companies. We have an outstanding opportunity today to talk with a specialist like this, so please do not miss the chance to ask questions later on, and we are all ears. Jingxia, please, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. So can you hear me now clearly, right? Just to make sure.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much, Ksenia, for a very kind and detailed introduction to me. It's my greatest pleasure talking with you about Belt and Road Initiative. I think it's it's a very timely topic given the fact that this year marks the 10th anniversary of the project, of the initiative. Actually, the third Belt and Road Forum just ended 3 weeks ago. So today, I think I will talk about 1 hour. Should be over around 9. No, your time is 2 p.m. And then I'm happy to answer the question. So for my topic, I would like to cover the following topics. First, I will introduce the origin and a general overview of the Belt and Road Initiative. Since this year marks 10th anniversary of the initiative, I will, in the second part of my presentation, I will give a short stock taking on the development of this decade-long Belt and Road Initiative. This part, frankly speaking, I'm basically speak about from the white paper on the BRI issued, just released in October last month. Actually, it's issued also because of the third Belt and Road Forum. In the third part of my presentation, I also present, I think, briefly about how the Western country in recent years look at the BRI and their response and their concerns on this initiative. And then, as an international lawyer, I would like to give an assessment on the impact of the BRI, mainly on global governance, because this is a theme. I understand. Global governance is a very important topic for the center at Graz University. This assessment mainly is conducted from the perspective and law and development. Lastly, I would like to draw some concluding remarks. Okay, so for the first, I would like to say about the launch of this initiative. I think most of you already knew about this, so it's going to be very brief. in March 2013, Chinese President Xi Jinping proposed the vision, which is called Global Community of Shared Future. For Xenia, Chinese is called 人类命运共同体. And then about half a year later, in September and October 2013, President Xi raised the initiatives of joining with other states or other countries or jurisdictions to build a so-called, at that time, it was called One Belt and One Road. Someone, picked it as a strategy, or that's more ambitious, looking like more ambitious than the Chinese official press, Xinhua News Agency, correct. It's basically it said it's not a strategy, it's not a plan, it's just a initiative. So this is from OBO, we call the One Belt and One Road, to official name, which is Belt and Road Initiative. The initiative, since it was launched in September and October respectively during President Xi's visit to Kazakhstan and Indonesia, later on it was specified to contain two components. The first one is so-called land-based Silk Road economic belt. It's SREP for short. The other is ocean-going maritime Silk Road, MSI. So from this picture, you can see more clearly about the two routes. The red one indicates, it's a land-based Silk Road economic belt, and the blue dotted line it's connecting, the ocean going, the second one. We have so-called BRI participating country, originally from a map released by Xinhua News Agency. It included about 55 or 56 countries, which is labeled as so-called BRI countries. But I would like to emphasize, actually, along the last decade of the implementation of the BRI, actually you will see the openness of the BRI. From the official language, it says BRI is open to any country. Ironically, it says, like the US is very welcomed to join the BRI and so on. And open to every country, every state, and as well as to every international organization. Basically, it welcomes the cooperation from other countries and organizations. So from this map, you will see until up to April this year, about 141 or 148, sometimes it's called about 150 countries, have signed memorandum of understanding, for short MOU, with China. They become part of the Belt and Road Initiative participating countries. So you can see those countries are not only just like along the two route, but it shows its openness of this initiative. As I just mentioned, the third Belt and Road Forum took place in Beijing in mid-October. this, because of the COVID-19 pandemic, this is the third one actually was greatly delayed because of the pandemic. The first forum was held in 2017, and the second one took place in 2019, and the third one just ended last month. Overall, when we can take a stock taking of this initiative, since its launch 10 years ago, the cooperation under this framework has greatly expanded beyond the borders of China. It's become an international, widely accepted international effort. It has involved, according to our the white paper, it has evolved from so-called idea into actions, from a vision into reality, and as well as from a general kind of, vague framework into very concrete projects. It has been, in fact, it has been accepted, widely accepted by international community, both as I argued, you can look at as a international public goods, as well as it also serves as a cooperation platform. This initiative has achieved many solid outcomes from the project. So over the past decades, BRI cooperation has delivered real gains to many participating countries and organizations. You can say, like, I just, there are tons of pictures you can get from the website. For this one, also in last month, in early October, Indonesian president launched the Southeast Asia's first high-speed railway. Which is a key project on the China's BRI infrastructure initiative during a ceremony. This high-speed railway was called as the Southeast Asia's first high-speed railway. Even actually a lot of railway in China in recent decades, which makes our transportation very speedy and very convenient. I think Ksenia had this experience. And also you can see this is this photo was taken on April 26, which shows a construction site of the East Coast Rail Link, which is also a major infrastructure project under the BRI, but it's in Malaysia. So as we can see, the BRI has indeed contributed to the sound development of economic globalization, and also helped to resolve, the global development challenge the whole world has been faced in these years. And it proved also to some extent, it proves the global governance system. From the implementation of the whole project, whole initiative, we can also say the initiative actually opened up a new path for all humanity to realize, even it is labeled as Chinese style modernization, but it does ensure the efforts of building a global community of shared future, and, which has been delivered some real result. So about the initiative from the white paper is over 30 pages. I just briefly summarize the main ideas from the white paper. I should emphasize this is not my vision. This is a Chinese official vision. That's not necessarily represent my vision in this respect. So to balance, I will also after this I will also talk about some other views, which particularly from Western perspective, how they look at the BRI and where are their concerns. So firstly, from the white paper, the first part, it says the BRI was proposed by China, but the initiative actually belongs to the whole world. So it was divided into 3 subparts. The first one is talk about, the BRI was originally rooted in history with respect to, ancient Silk Road. It's like an inherent ancient spirit of expanding trade. Even at that time, maybe not much investment, but there was a trade in ancient history from China, particularly from Xi'an to other countries. So it says the BRI actually carries forward the Silk Road spirit. And the second subpart, it says, the BRI or the launch of the BRI is in response to reality, to, in today's world, we're facing a lot of challenges, particularly for many developing and least developed countries. We commonly face the so-called development challenges. So the BRI tries to resolve problems in development. It's in response to global challenges we have been facing. And it also talks about, the BRI, it's oriented towards the future. So it means it's not a very short term, the project. It's because it's oriented towards the future. You can imagine, at least at the level of Chinese government promise, it will be a long-term project with a large amount of money investing into the initiative. With that being said, the BRI aims to create a better world. This is also compatible with the so-called the shared future for common humanity. And then in the second part, it's talking about how the BRI paves the way towards a shared development and prosperity for the whole world. Firstly, about the principle. The principle is very clear from its very beginning. It has staked to 3 principles, which is extensive consultation, joint contribution, and the shared benefits. So from the very beginning until now, these 3 principles is still strongly advocated. You can I think what you can learn from these principles, in extensive consultation, it means the BRI is not only dominated by China, because the project under the initiative are all built on the basis of extensive consultation. Emphasize here is not only about China, not China dominating, you know, the all projects. And the joint contribution actually means, you know, the BRI in itself is not free. It's not a free project. It's not like a donation by Chinese government. So local country, a local state, and the local company, they also should invest in some form, in cash or in other, you know, concession, we call it in terms of international investment law. And then the benefits should be shared, not only by China, but also by other countries in joining other countries for the benefits. So the concept, the BRI concept has emphasized the cooperation. The cooperation should be the open and also green BRI projects and clean cooperation. So it also emphasizes open, green, and clean. Then the objectives should be high standards, sustainability, and better lives for the all human in the world. It also talked about the vision. This vision was actually also emphasized in the action plan, I remember, which was put forward in 2015. So the initiative is a path to global well-being. What does this mean? It means it's a path to peace, a path to prosperity, a path to openness, a path to innovation, as well as to social progress. The one important aim of the BRI is to promote so-called all-around connectivity in multiple fields. So extensive, first one is about extensive and in-depth policy coordination. It consists of several elements. You can look at from, you know, like strategy and the policy coordination has been expanding in scope, and it is also a long-term mechanism for policy coordination. Multilateral cooperation, which has been driving forward the initiative. Also in promoting the connectivities, the rules and the standards also need to be coordinated by a participating country and China. The second aspect in this field is about growing connectivity of infrastructure. From the several pictures I just shown, we can see the infrastructure, the connectivity through infrastructure holds the key, at least, you know, for the in the last several years. Right now, it has been experiencing some shift, which I will address later on. But from the very beginning, we can see connectivity through infrastructure projects holds the key of the BRI initiative. The original intention of BRI, one of the original intention is, you know, fill the gap, huge gap of infrastructure projects, particularly in developing Euro-Asian and African country, for, you know, lack of necessary infrastructure such as transportation, you know, highway speed, these kind of things. The construction of economic corridors, we can see, you know, there are some several economic corridors which emphasize the cooperation through trade and investment. and also as well as international routes has been making substantial progress. This has been seen frequency in Euro-Asia countries and some African countries. For maritime connectivity, which also has been steadily improving, the third connectivity we can say is in the area of Air Silk Road. So originally it's two routes, land-based and ocean-going, but along with the implementation of the BRI, actually it's expanded to the air. Air Silk Road also has some notable progress. So you can see from this table, it's about the number of trips and the freight volume of China-Europe. We call the 中欧班列, China-Europe freight trains from 2011 to 2020, 2022. You will see even, from those 3 years experiencing COVID-19 pandemic, but the freight trains still was greatly increasing, as we can see from this table. From this table, we can see the trade and the investment liberalization, which is, as I mentioned, which is one of the main goals of implementing, launching and implementing BRI. Indeed, from the statistics, we can see the international trade and the investment, as well as the facilitation, some platform facilitating trade and investment has been improving. They have played a growing role, particularly through the so-called digital Silk Road. It's mainly by constructed by internet. The platform in the other phenomena we can see is about industrial cooperation, which focus on some not only infrastructure, but some energy in industry, some food industry, which holds the key for people's well-being. We can also say that diverse dynamics of financial integration. This table, you can see the number of projects contracted and committed investment by Silk Road Fund. This fund, compatible with the implementation, it's sponsored by Chinese government. Basically, it's a financing arm for the initiative. There is another one which is called Asian AIIB, Asian Infrastructure Development Bank, AIIB, together with Silk Road Fund, injected a huge amount of capital into BRI-related projects. So we can see the financial cooperation mechanism are maturing, as well as the channels and the platforms for investment and the financing have been also consistently expanding through AIIB as well as Silk Road Fund. We can also see many other stuff like innovative investment and financing method, as well as debt sustainability. In this respect, I remember, in the symposium I attend in Graz Global Governance Center, we once discussed the so-called debt trap issue. So in response to this allegation, China has been, through BRI, has been responding to debt trap allegations through debt sustainability initiatives. The other aim for implementing BRI, launching BRI is building or laying solid foundation for people-to-people ties, which includes such as cooperation on culture and tourism, educational exchange and cooperation, media and think tank cooperation, and people-to-people exchange. All these people-to-people ties has been expanding through the BRI. Even though, you know, during pandemic period, you know, the ties was greatly reduced, but this year we can see it has been gradually coming back. Also, we see some steady progress in some new areas like health cooperation, green and low carbon development projects, which I will also address a little bit later on, and the cooperation in technical knowledge, innovation, and scientific innovation also, you know, gathering speed. Digital Silk Road, I just mentioned, it has been emphasized, particularly in recent years, along with technological advancement, particularly for AI, for, you know, digitalized economy. The BRI also tries to inject positive energy into world peace and development. We can see, you know, the BRI has brought tangible benefits to participating country. It's not only boosting development in participating country, but also, you know, it building poverty reduction capacity in participating country, as well as delivering a notable result in projects that help improves people's life, particularly in least developed country and the neighboring South Asian country. In recent years, we we can see the BRI as a vitality to economic globalization. In this respect, China has been frequently emphasizing that China is one of the beneficiaries of global economic globalization. Even in recent years, there has been a wave of so-called anti-globalization, but China frequently advocates, you know, it's a beneficiary of globalization, and it will continue to advocate globalization. So in this respect, we can also say the BRI has encouraging the deeper regional economic cooperation, you know, so-called ASEP, regional comprehensive economic partnership, which China is one of the 15 partners, which was I remember took effect in early 2022. So it's a good example of deeper regional economic cooperation. And also beyond Asia, the BRI has been trying to promote global trade and investment, which I just mentioned, as well as maintaining the stability of global supply chain. This is, you know, we have been talking about the so-called resilience of global supply chain, particularly, you know, because of the pandemic, because of the Russia-Ukraine war, you know, which caused a lot of concern about a resilient global supply chain. And the BRI also tries to provide some innovative solutions to improving global governance. In this respect, I understand that there are some different visions and different perspectives. But from the Chinese perspective, the BRI has, you know, has gaining more and more recognition for the concept of global governance. It has been improving multilateral governance mechanism, it is Chinese intention to participate in global governance, particularly economic global governance, through BRI, as well as improving global governance related framework, including legal framework. Also, China has been gaining the strength for the progress of human civilization through the BRI. Last part, the white paper talk about, the BRI tries to pursue steady and sustained progress in high quality BRI cooperation. This, you can look at this part from many angles. From the white paper, which I can see one important point is that BRI will continue as Chinese overarching plan, and it stands at top level design for opening up and the so-called win-win international cooperation. And through the BRI, China also tries to achieve a more greater say for emerging economies, including China itself and as well as other developing countries in global governance. So through still it emphasizes the BRI welcomes more and more countries and the international organization to join in the cooperation and promote global connectivity and sustainable development. So basically, this is what Chinese government advocates about the BRI, its intention, its plan, its main objectives, and its future. So also in the past decades, we see a lot of scholarship, from various countries. Many of them are from Western scholars, which I think are also very serious scholarships. They look at the BRI from some of them, not all, not all of them. I can see, some scholarships, they raised a very different perspective about the BRI. So on the perspective, they also raised various concern about the BRI. So I'm addressing a little bit about this. So in the very beginning, we can say, the BRI was pictured as a new version or Chinese version of the Marshall Plan. And I remember Chinese government once, in the official media says it's different from historical Marshall Plan. The main idea is that, BRI initiative doesn't, attach any string. So basically, it means, it hopes joining country, participating country to benefit from China's economic development. So Chinese government does not attach any condition for participating country to join. That's underpins the three principles I mentioned about extensive consultation, joint contribution and shared benefits. That's why I emphasize, because this also differentiated from Chinese government, differentiated from so-called Marshall Plan. The US launched for aiding some European countries in history. So in recent years, we can see some scholar expressed an impression of which says, this is President Xi's determination to departure from Mr. Deng Xiaoping's dictum to hide our capabilities and bide our time. Never try to take the lead. In Chinese, we call it 韬光养晦. The bride was seen as a departure from this long-term strategy, basically like since China opened up in 1978, basically China followed this dictum. And then, since the bride was launched, it was saying, this is a departure from long-term, the dictum advocated by Mr. Deng Xiaoping. So, and also I noticed that some scholars says, the bride seeks to make Eurasia an economic and trading area dominated by China. This is constitute a rival to the transatlantic trading area, which was historically dominated by the U.S. So this is a thing as a rival between China and the U.S. This argument basically says, by investing in first infrastructure, the bride tries to create a new market for Chinese companies, such as high-speed rail firms, and also to export China's excess capacity. By investing to these, high-risk countries, some developing countries or least developed countries, their investment environment was not ideal. So this argument also mentioned that by investing in those countries, including Central Asia, China tries to create a more stable neighborhood for Chinese development. This is important for China's development because, we have seen Chinese investment is very hard to go to Western country because of so-called national security screening framework. This argument also says by encouraging more Chinese projects around the South China Sea, which is a highly sensitive area, China tries to bolster China's claim in that area. So after talking about the Western perspective about the bride and their concern, we can actually say the bride projects actually has a lot of risks. This mainly because, bride covering some of the richest countries in the world. Since the bride was launched, we have seen a lot of Chinese investors, both SOEs and private sectors. They have faced different types of risks in different countries, including economic, political, compliance, legal risk, even culture difference. So each country actually, if you look at the specific projects, you will see each country basically present its own challenges for bride projects to some extent. But given the profile of investment destination, one very immediate question pertains to the nature of Chinese investment. This is mainly, challenged by the fact that most of the bride investment is composed by Chinese state-owned enterprises. Private companies, they also investment in the beginning years, but later on, because of these risks, the volume of investment from private companies kind of shrinked. But Chinese SOEs, since this is a initiative, advocated by our president, Chinese SOE in energy, construction, and telecommunication still have been the vanguard of the BRI projects. So this raises the question, why, facing such huge risks, these companies still, conduct investment in those countries. So after talking about the different perspective from Chinese government as well as from a Western country and some Western scholars, we have noticed actually China has been adjusting and responding its BRI initiative. We can summarize one major shift is, from the large volume investment in infrastructure, mainly infrastructure projects investment, in the previous years. Right now, we can see it has been shifting to so-called small and beautiful, or small yet beautiful. Some translated as small or beautiful. I can see different English translation. What does that mean? We can see prior to COVID-19 pandemic, the Southeast Asia countries were significant beneficiaries, as I from the pictures I just show, we can see, they were significant beneficiaries of China's FDI and the BRI. So the pandemic, 3 years in China, it's the whole 3 years pandemic has indeed stalled China's investment and the BRI projects globally. With, since the beginning of this year, China's BRI investment flows into Southeast Asia are expected to recover, but in a somewhat different way. So we can see the much awaited return of Chinese investment to the region is being met with great expectation, but also some concern, responding to some concern. The concern mainly related to the potential impacts of the BRI on the host country's environment and the debt levels. I also briefly mentioned, if you look at this table, you will see we can see the annual engagement of China in the BRI. In recent years, it has been decreasing. From this red line, you will see, up and down, but in overall trend has been decreasing. So talking about the small yet beautiful projects, we can actually underneath its advantage of some smaller projects, which is very obvious. The projects tend to be faster and implemented and have overall, lower risks. So probably the future opportunities lies especially in local co-financing of such projects to ensure that financial gains are shared also within the host country. Remember, I mentioned, joint contribution is one of the 3 principles of the BRI. But in practice, actually, still the investment is mainly flew from China. So even host country was asked to joint contribute, but they just lack of the necessary funding or money. So we can say in the third the forum, the Third Belt and Road Forum, President Xi, in responding to the concern, actually, he dismissed the concern over the sustainability of the BRI. You know, a lot of people have been concerned, you know, they have seen China's less than healthy economic situation, which, you know, I myself also have been witnessing. It's true, you know, Chinese economy has a lot of problem as well, to be honest. But at the 10th anniversary celebration of the BRI, it was ended with a commitment of an additional 107 billion. This is the RMB, denominated in RMB, in funding for projects under the BRI for the next 5 years. Even within this investment, the continuing investment, China tries to address the shortcoming of the initial BRI. After 10 years, China has gradually learned, you know, the difficulties, the problem with the project. Now, simply speaking, BRI will more focus on, I'm not saying that, you know, the infrastructure projects will totally be stopped, but more focusing on small yet beautiful projects such as renewable energy technology and electrical vehicles in response to the so-called allegation of debt traps and the need for environment protection. The one point to emphasize is that until now, we still within BRI remains the main driver of China's globalization and remain as the core of its geopolitical vision to link China's development with some other, many developing countries among the anti-globalization wave in recent years. So then I will talk briefly about the impact from the legal perspective, the impact of the BRI on law and development. Why this issue is important, because the law and development, as we understand from a legal perspective, is a vital part of a global governance. Basically, we see law serve as a blueprint for such relationship by identifying parties' rights and obligations and the term by which agreements are made, and how the parties' relationship is affected by disputes. So also, as a traditionally understood, we can see legal development assistance. Also, you can labelize it as so-called law and development projects. Is a strategy by developed country instead of developing country to provide advice and capacity building to less developed and developing country for a variety of reasons. So in this sense, China actually is not a traditional legal donor, which means, you know, China's role in affecting change in other legal system basically defies conventional definition of legal development assistance. I noticed some scholars have studied the evolving relationship through a number of lens, including but not limited, like international relation, diplomacy, lending practice, and soft power, among others. We can see there are two main reasons explaining or illustrating why China has been a, you know, infrastructure first, law second donor. So this is very unique. This is very different from a Western country in terms of, you know, the law and the development initiative or strategy. First, the reason is that China followed the so-called the principle of interference in its foreign policy and perceives non-interference to be the bedrock for a norm of international law for long term. time. Second reason is that law itself actually is not a privileged category in Chinese political culture. If you look at the long history of Chinese culture. But in recent years, despite its conventional reluctance to engage in domestic affairs of host country, and also, we can see China's its own economic slowdown. The problem I just mentioned, China has been indeed has been becoming even not active, but at least it's become a player in the law and the developing in the industry. So conventional wisdom says law and development basically refers to policy prescription for legal reform to facilitate economic growth. You can see the BRI actually involves China financing billions of dollars of investment in roads, railway, and other infrastructure across Eurasia and Africa countries. So we say, money brings a lot of things. So given China's deepening footprint in many host countries, some of which are high-risk investment environment I just mentioned, we can see China's adherence to non-interference is slackening in practice to some extent. This is because in plain words I say money really brings a lot of things to the host countries. As for law, in recent years, China has attached much more importance to so-called formal law. We can see in 2020, China launched we call the foreign-related rule of law, 涉外法治. It's not international law; it's domestic law, but which relates to international law. Because it's so-called foreign-related. So on another front, we can see China is committed to reforming global governance to some extent. You can see China launched 3 initiatives, both global, all globally: China Development Initiative, Security Initiative, as well as Civilization Initiative, which have built on relationship established mainly through the BRI. And this, you can say, it has been promoting China's norms through existing and new multilateral efforts. We can see a lot of trends, both bilaterally and as well as in Chinese context. The formal law works adjacent to other sorts of norms, including policy, soft law, technical, and industry standards. The main concern is that since China like infrastructure first and the law second, which means we investment a lot of money first, and along with this huge amount of investment, host country has been affected by the project, by the investment, and finally by China. So this caused a concern because China followed different regimes. The deep concern is that what the BRI will bring to global governance. The more China claim it will be involved in participating or reforming global governance, the more concern the many countries, particularly Western countries, have. So with this situation, I would like to offer some concluding remarks for as well as for our discussion, if any. Firstly, I think we can see from Western some Western perspective. I emphasize not all, but some so-called China observer expect the demise of the BRI at its 10 years, even arguing that 10th anniversary of the BRI to be more like a funeral procession than a birthday celebration. But from the reality, I understand their concern. I share their concern to some extent. But objectively speaking, this still seems premature. At least we can see BRI has indeed emerged as one of the world's most ambitious and debated developmental initiatives. The reality is that over 140 countries have actively joined the BRI initiative, hoping to benefit from cooperation with China, serve as a beneficiary from China's economic development in past several decades. Of course, participating country and not all participating country, or all of them are always satisfied with the outcome of this cooperation. But we can imagine, a lack of credible alternatives. In recent years, we can see in some Western countries, including the US and the EU, they put forward some alternatives to the BRI. But still, the investment, the real money invested into the initiative, still China ranked, so far ranked the #1. This often leads to the observation that it delivered the real outcome of infrastructure project, as you can see from the highway, the high-speed train, this kind of infrastructure through the BRI is much better than a promised infrastructure project through a different program. So I think a rapidly emerging BRI adapting to China's domestic challenges and opportunities, such as China's growing competitiveness of private companies, global power competition, challenging driving non-domestic investment of Chinese companies, as well as a growing focus on green development and other major technologies opportunities. The future topic on all this development, we can expect the main future topic of BRI are green development, still connectivity, which is also still important, and also digital economy. We can expect, along with the implementation of the BRI, China has emerged as a newcomer, as I just described, a newcomer to the area of law and development program or legal development assistance, depending how you frame it. But people are always, particularly for legal scholars, they are always interested in assessing the likely long-term effects of China's growing footprint in global governance through, international and host country state law, whether this is Chinese intention or its unintended knock-on effects. So you can look at this issue from the main issue here is China having more of a say in certain areas of law. This include both, the traditional area like maritime law and some emerging new topic, frontier topic as AI regulation, data law, cybersecurity, space law, and so on. But we cannot deny that China's entry into the field of law and development, including its integration into international law, has very different origin from that, of the US as well as some other Western countries. So far, objectively speaking, we can see many of its initiatives are still marginally effective, because I don't think, for the BRI, there is no international treaty or formal international legal mechanism putting into the place. But China has been learning from trying to having more say in terms of global governance, particularly economic governance. On the other hand, we do see, Western states, they are taking note of China, what China has been doing through the BRI, and they also have been developing means to challenge China's efforts. But I think this can be done, or should also focus on means of collaboration. The reason, simply speaking, the whole world, the global world has been facing, a lot of urgent needs in lack of infrastructure gap and the risk of climate change, as well as biodiversity loss. So under this situation, I think, more international cooperation are needed. So it seems that many mindsets need to change, to adapt, or to achieve, in order to achieve this goal. Many mindsets need to change as well. In conclusion, I would like to use Matthew Airy, which is a renowned Chinese law scholar. He's a United citizen, but he has been paying much attention to China law and development initiative. He says that development is not a zero-sum contest, and the most urgent problem of development, including poverty, alleviation, environmental collapse, and inequality, may be too heavy a lift for either the United States and China working adversarially. So international cooperation should be needed, even there are a lot of concern, which I deeply share, for the implementation of the BRI. Thank you so much. I think, since we delivered because of the technical issues about 10 minutes, I will stop here, and I welcome any feedback and any question we can discuss. Thank you so much.